What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Yak Attack channel. Today I'm going to be starting the process of fabricating a turbo manifold for my Time Attack Civic. So let's see what we got going on. Alright, so I already got all the pieces laid out here. In the back here I have some Schedule 40 1.5" piping that I got from my local metal supply shop. All these weld elbows I purchased off of Amazon and I had them like the next day shipped. So that was pretty sweet. This head flange right here is a PRL Racing head flange. It is really nice, especially for the price that I paid for it. And down here we have a Vibrant Racing T4 turbo flange. So before I get started on this manifold, I gotta make a jig to cut the collector. So I got some scrap kind of pulled aside and I kind of have an idea of what I want to do, but I've never made one of these before. So I just figured that I would show the process, and anything that I learned by making it, I would show in the video. So let's get to it.
Searching for the way to go, searching for the light to show. If you only knew I missed you so. Searching for the way to go, searching for the light to show. If you only knew I missed you so.
Alright, check this thing out. We got the collector jig all finished up, and what I got going on here is I welded 2 pieces of 1x1 square inch tubing together to give me a nice flat base. You can use pretty much anything you want as long as it's a good clamping point in the vise. And then I got my other 1-inch square tubing up in the front here, and I cut this at a 12.5 degree angle. So that's going to be the angle for the merge collector. And then I ended up cutting a little C-clamp that I had. I just cut the end off of it so I could use this part of the clamp. And then so the way that this is going to work is you're going to grab your piece for your collector, your piping, throw it on here, tighten it down. It's going to get it to that nice 12.5 degree angle. Bring it over to the bandsaw, throw it in the bandsaw, tighten it down, and I'm gonna have to play with this and probably make some marks like right in here to get this thing to cut it directly in half. And it'll make more sense once I start cutting this collector. But I mean, that's pretty sweet for just some scrap that I had laying around. There are some guys who sell jigs for collectors. One in particular that comes to mind is the LPS Fab collector jig. Super nice unit. You know, all CNC billet, aluminum, but I didn't really have the money for that, so I did the next best thing and made my own. So this is gonna work out fine. And if I was cranking these things out on the daily, then I'd probably invest in a nicer jig. But since I'm only building this for myself, this thing will do just fine. I should probably be using some PVC piping, 1.5" Schedule 40 to practice, but YOLO. See how this goes. All right, so I got 3 out of my 4 pieces cut for the collector, and I didn't even bother to start cutting the 4th one because I already know that this thing is messed up, all right? So on my second cut here, this is my first cut, this is my second cut, and it ended up cutting it so far down that when I butt these up together, let me try to give you a better angle here. When I butt these up together, and I line it up how I would weld it, if you look at the bottom there, there's no separation in this area, all right? So I would just weld over this, and then the weld would actually start burning back the pipe up here, and I don't want that. So what I'm gonna do is I went ahead and I already made a new jig, and I put some more angle on it. So I got 2 jigs now. This was the one that had the 12.5 degree angle. This one has I used a more aggressive angle, so this is 20 degrees. And what that's gonna do is when I put my pipe on there now, and I put it in the bandsaw and it cuts it, it's not gonna take off as much material, and it'll make its cut, you know, most likely before it hits the end of the pipe. So that's the game plan now. I'm gonna give it another shot. If I still jack this one up, then I'll go out and get some PVC pipe and practice a little more before I keep wasting material. Some other things that I learned is to make all your cuts at the same time. So with the straight sections here, you can see that they are all pretty much the same. I got one loaded in the bandsaw on the jig already, but I cut those all at the same time using this little stopper, all right? So I fed the pipe through, used the stopper, that way I know when the bandsaw cuts it, it's at the same point every single time. So that's gonna apply to that, and also any cut that you make. So I'm gonna make my first 4 cuts on the pipe, my first cuts, and I'm gonna leave the jig in there the entire time, all right? I made that mistake last time, and I think that's why these things are so unsymmetrical, because, let's see, where's this one? Yeah, you can see just how far those points are off, and it's just a little bit, but those millimeters make a difference. All right, so I'm gonna give that a shot this time, and hopefully I get some better results.
Thought the rain coming down.